Alright. Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It is Harley from the Fran Play, and today... What happened? Uh-oh. Come here. What happened? What happened?
Get down!
You want to get down what? Over there? Okay. Hey, talk to Daddy. What's the matter?
Get down.
You want to get down? Okay. Okay. Alright, sorry about that. Okay, so yesterday we finished our CSS exercises from the repository that we got a few lessons back, right? And... Oh, Tina hit her? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. But yeah, we finished the margin padding 1 and margin padding 2. Now the thing was with that I didn't get it exactly right. Like, well, I didn't get it as a solution, but I had my own solution, but it wasn't clean enough code compared to the actual solution of it. I got my coffee and my PlayStation mug. Shout out to PlayStation. Please sponsor. Just kidding. Oh, I have lots of mugs actually. I'll have to do like a video showing my mugs. Oh, and before I forget, those of you that have been watching, I want to say again, thank you so much for being a part of my journey and leaving your likes and coming by saying hi. Greatly appreciated. Now, I have a video or a channel I would like to say to go check out, please. I'll put them down in the description as well. I'm trying to get to my my history from last night. My god, he's hilarious. Oh no. Oh, here it is. Matt's last neuron. Matt's last neuron. Man, he was funny. Actually, I can show you on here. Matt's last neuron. YouTube. I think this is it. Yeah. There we go. Make sure I'm subscribed. Turn that on. But yeah, Matt, you're awesome, dude. I loved your video. It was funny. I'm glad you're progressing through full stack web development. So it's cool to see. I'm glad to be a part of a group as well. So anyway, let's get back to learning some Odin, right? Okay, so we completed this, and now we're going to go through some of the additional resources in this tutorial. Oh yeah, let me open up my notes real fast. Cool, and you can swipe. I didn't know that. I like that. Oh. What did I do? Okay, hold on. I think I did something. Okay. And it says here, this tutorial is a little dated at this point, but its examples are clear. The first 6 slides cover the material we've seen so far. So let's go ahead and go over it. It's good to just learn and do exercises over again on how to get this stuff done. Which is another reason why I do these documentary stream things.
Let me write a note down. Skip past 5 minutes.
to skip the intro. Okay. So having no layout whatsoever is almost okay if you want to, if all you want is one big column of content. However, if a user makes the browser window really wide, it gets kind of annoying to read. After each line, your eyes have a long distance to travel right to left to the next line. Try resizing your browser to see what I mean. Before we fix this problem, let's make sure we're clear. Let's make sure we're clear on the very important display property. Okay. Oh. Yes. Failed to load resource. The server responded with the status of 500. I forgot what server status 500 means. Server status 500. So generic response, it means that the server encountered an unexpected condition that prevented it from fulfilling the request. Maybe we can try. There we go. Okay, we can ignore those. Alright. Oh, that right there is a great example of what we're gonna see later on down the line when it comes to checking server status and all that kind of good stuff. That's like some of the stuff I kind of retain from the coding bootcamp, so that was pretty cool. You can kind of see what your errors are and why it's not pooling. That's why Chrome Tools is really, really useful. Obviously, those going through the Odin project know that, but others, yeah, just keep in mind that the Chrome Tools are really amazing. Okay, so learn CSS Layout. About this site. Display is CSS's most important property for controlling layout. Every element has a default display value depending on what type of element it is. The default for most elements is usually block or inline. A block element is often called a block level element. An inline element is always just called an inline element. So block level and inline, right? Block. So this div, right? Div is a standard block level element. A block level element starts on a new line and stretches out to the left and right as far as it can. Other common block level elements are p and form, and new in HTML5 are header, footer, section, and more. Inline. Span is a standard inline element. An inline element can wrap some text inside a paragraph, like this, without disrupting the flow of that paragraph. And that's cool. Like, I think that would have to be like, it's typed out. Let's see. I want to see this. I want to see this span. Yes. See, they actually write it. I like that. Like this. That's so cool. Okay. A span within a span. I like that. Okay. Oh yeah, let me make sure I'm off the Wi-Fi here, because I don't want my internet to go down again. Okay. Without disrupting the flow of the paragraph, the anchor element is the most common inline element since you use them for links. None. Another common display value is none. Some specialized elements such as script use this as their default. It is commonly used with JavaScript to hide and show elements without really deleting and recreating them. This is different from visibility. Setting display to none will render the page as though the element does not exist. Visibility hidden will hide the element, but the element will still take up the space it would if it was fully visible. Other displays. Other display values. There are plenty of more exotic display values such as list, item, and table. Here is an exhaustive list. We'll discuss inline block and flex later on. So here is a list of all okay, we're gonna save this one. We'll have to read this later. Oh. Oh. Whoops. Okay. Sorry about that. Wow, you look so pretty. Okay. And then, so there's an exhaustive list. As I mentioned, every element has a default display type. However, you can always override this. Though it wouldn't make sense to make an inline div, you can use this to customize the display of elements that have particular semantics. A common example is making inline list elements for horizontal menus. Like this, maybe? Or are these just two buttons here? Let's look. So this is a div. And let's see. Okay, cool. But that's not listing like that. Okay, but you can list li elements, or you can list list elements horizontally for menu items. Okay. Next. Okay, let's refresh it again. So now we know the simple fix of being able to read through this about this site. Bless you. So this is div ID main, right? Setting the width of a block level element will prevent it from stretching out to the edges of the container. I'm sorry, I need my coffee. Whoa! Wow, you got a big purse on. Oh. Forgot to do a little give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Okay. Alright. So setting the width of a block level element will prevent it from stretching out to the edge of its container to the left and right. Then you can set the left and right margins to auto to horizontally center that element within its container. Cool. Okay, so this is what Akash was talking about yesterday, or was it Akash? Learning what auto means. I believe it was, or like why we use auto. So this will be good. This is good. This is going to be a good note to take down, actually. I was gonna say, please let me go down. So, right here. Setting the width of a block level element will prevent it from stretching out to the edges of its container to the left and right. Then you can set the left and right margins to auto to horizontally center the element within its container. Copy that. That's gonna be a major one right there. Really cool. I like that. I can literally drag that. I did not know I could do that. Okay. The element will take up the width you specify, then the remaining space will split evenly between the two margins. The problem occurs when the browser window is narrower than the width of your element. The browser resolves this by creating a horizontal scroll bar on the page. Let's improve the situation. So the only problem occurs when the browser window is narrower than the width of your element. The browser resolves this by creating a horizontal scroll bar on the page. Let's improve the situation. Okay, so actually let's see what they mean by that, right? Oh, instead of like making it fit, right? Okay, so that's the issue I have with my little website. So this is probably gonna be good. Okay, so again, our main div is having max width of 600 and a margin 0 auto, right? Now I kind of know how we can mess with our Odin recipes, which we will more than likely just mess with tonight. I'm off tomorrow, so I'll probably work mainly on programming tonight. I played Star Citizen last night. I am guilty. I love it. It's so good, so cool. But back to coding. So, using max width instead of width in this situation will improve the browser's handling of small windows. This is important when making a site usable on mobile. Resize this page, check it out. No, yes! That's what I need. That is exactly what I need. Okay, that is so cool. Right here. Paste set. Oh my god. Yes. The answer I've been needing. Okay. So, by the way, max width is supported by all major browsers, including Internet Explorer 7 Plus, so you shouldn't be afraid of using it. Okay, I was like, is it gonna give us an error? Tina, you can't get up here, baby. My poor cat just wants to sit up on the desk, but like my desk isn't huge, so she's just like trying to get on space where there's no space, you know? And don't get me wrong, I love my kitty cat. Alright, take it. Oh, dang it. I'm gonna get in trouble for letting you sit there, though. Come on. Let's get up. You wanna sit by me? Mm-hmm. Here. How about this? How about you sit right here? How about you sit right here? Daddy turns off amusing me. Sit on your little chair. Okay. I got work tonight, so I'll be streaming probably for like another hour. And then I have to go. Go sit back down on your chair. Sit on your chair. You're not coming over here. Are you okay? Huh? Oh, okay.
Bye, Daddy.
Bye, baby. Can I get a kiss? I love you. Okay. So while we're talking about width, we should talk about width's big caveat, the box model. Okay? When you set the width of an element, let's have a little fun here. Let's change this. Let's change it from about this site to we're learning more CSS. This site is awesome. Cool. While we're talking about width, we should talk about the width's big caveat, the box model. When you set the width of an element, the element can actually appear bigger than what you set. The element's border and padding will stretch out beyond the element beyond the specified width. Look at the following example, where two elements with the same width value end up different sizes in the result. Okay, so we have a fancy and we have a simple. So the width for each of these is 500, right? The right and left are out of margin to be center, and a margin of 20 pixels top and bottom. Fancy has width of 500, padding of 50 on each side, so that's 50 here, that's 50 here, and a border width of 10. So 50 about right here, and then 10 pixels on each side. So this is more because we have the padding and we have the border width. And that's why this is bigger. For generations, the solution to this problem has been extra math. CSS authors have always just written a smaller width value than what they wanted, subtracting out the padding and border. Thankfully, you don't have to do that anymore. What are we gonna learn? Oh my god. Please let it be something cool. Tina, you can lay down here. Oh, coffee time while it loads. One more time. Just the solution. The original box model behavior was eventually considered unintuitive, so a new CSS property called box sizing was created. When you set box sizing border box on an element, the padding and width of that element no longer increase its width. Here's the same example as the previous page, but with box sizing. Border box on both elements. She's ready to go. Huh? Oh, it's the big diaper that we have that she had this morning. Oh, hello. Okay. And then this one, okay, so we have a width of 500, same margins as last time, except now we're using WebKit, Mozilla. Bye, Jaylee, I love you. Oh, she's ready to go. And then the fancy has the same thing. But why is that? Because it's going to fit that width of 500. That's what I'm thinking. Since this is so much better, some authors want all elements on their pages to always work this way. Such authors put the following CSS on their pages. Oh, that's kind of what we added to our thingamajig. This ensures that all elements are always sized in this more intuitive way. Since box sizing is pretty new, you should use the WebKit and most prefixes for now, as I have in these examples. This technique enables experimental features in specific browsers. Also, keep in mind that this one is Internet Explorer 8. About this site. Oh. In order to make more complex layouts... Okay, hold on. So this one is outdated, but we use something else. And I have it saved. In order to make more complex layouts, we need to discuss the position property. It has a bunch of possible values, and their names make no sense and are impossible to remember. Let's go through them one by one, but maybe you should bookmark this page too. Dot static position static. So the class is static, and it has a position of static. Static is a default value, and the element with position static is not positioned in any special way. A static element is said to be not positioned, and an element with its position set to anything else is said to be positioned. So this is a static, so it has no position. Right? Oh, those are cool. Okay. Relative. So here's relative. Yeah, and as I said, this is going to be CSS position property. Okay, so relative, position relative to top -20, left 20, background color white, and width 50 pixels. Relative behaves the same as a static, unless you add some extra properties. Setting the top, right, bottom, and left properties of a relatively position element will cause it to be adjusted away from its normal position. Other content will not be adjusted to fit into any gap left by the element. A fixed element is positioned relative to the viewport, which means it always stays in the same place even if the page is scrolled. As with relative, so the one that's fixed is down at the bottom. A fixed element is positioned relative to the viewports, which means it always stays in the same place. As the relative, the top, right, bottom, and left properties are used. Oh, bottom right. Okay. Width, background color. That's cool. Okay. Fixed element, okay. I'm sure you noticed that the fixed element in the lower right hand corner of the page. I'm giving you permission to pay attention to it now. Here's the CSS that puts it there. A fixed element does not leave a gap in the page where it would normally have been located. Mobile browsers have surprisingly shaky support for fixed. Okay. Absolute. Absolute is the trickiest position value. Absolute behaves like the fixed except relative to the nearest position ancestor instead of relative to the viewport. If an absolutely positioned element has no position ancestors, it uses the document body and still moves along the page scrolling. Document body and still moves along with the scrolling page. Remember, position element is one whose position is anything except static. Relative. Okay, and so absolute would mean top 120 pixels, right? So we're 120 pixels from the top and more to the right at 0 pixels. Here's our height value, our width value, and we're absolute here. And we're within probably the div. This stuff is tricky, but it's essentially this stuff is tricky, but it's essential to creating great CSS layouts. On the next page, we'll use position in a more practical example. Alright. So, this position stuff might make a little more sense in a practical example. Below is a realistic page layout. So we have a container class with a position of relative. We have a nav element that has a position that's absolute on the left side with a width of 200 pixels. We have a section and there's multiple sections that have a margin left of 200 pixels, so we're 200 from the absolute, so we're pretty much right in line on that. And static by default because we give it nothing, right? And then footer has a here we go, position of fixed at the bottom left, and height 70 pixels, background color of white, width 100%, which pretty much means take up the whole width of the page, right? And then we have a body which has a margin bottom of 20 pixels. Oh, okay, so 20 pixels off of the next container. So here we go. We have a container with menus, right? Talk menu, draft list, hours. So the left margin style for sections, make sure There's room for the nav, otherwise the absolute and static elements would overlap. Here's some lorem ipsum. Notice what happens when you resize the browser. It works nicely. Oh, it does. I like that. Okay. This example works because if you use a fixed header or footer, make sure there's room for it. I put a margin bottom on the body. Okay. Gotcha. Oh. Okay. This example works because the container is taller than the nav. If it wasn't, the nav would overflow outside of its container. In the coming pages, we'll discuss other layout techniques that have different pros and cons. On to the next one. Oh, I had an error again. This time we're learning about float. Come on. There we go, it's loading something. So another CSS property used for layout is float. Float is intended for wrapping text around images. So image, float right, margin 0, 0, and then so margin top and right would be 0, and 1 EM for the left and bottom. Oh, bottom and left, I mean. Cool. So we can float images to certain sides that we want. The clear property is important for controlling the behavior of floats. Compare these two examples. So we have a div with the class of box content, right? And then our box will float left, right? Width of 200 pixels, a height of 100 pixels, and a margin of 1 EM. In this case, the section element is actually after the div. However, since the div is floated to the left, this is what happens. The text in the section is floated around the div. The text in the section is floated around the div. Oh, okay, I see. And the section surrounds the whole thing. What if we wanted this section to actually appear after the floated element? Okay, so then we'll have to have an after box. Oh. Okay, so we'll have to add a class to that section and add a property of clear with the value of left. Alright, so this one stays floating in that spot, and this gets moved like that. Oh, let me go back. Using clear, we now move this section down below the floated div. Use the value left to clear elements floated to the left. You can also clear right in both. Yeah, this is going to be a useful little thing to go through. Or to come back to, I mean. Okay. Here is a weird, bad thing that can sometimes happen when using floats. Let's see. Float right. Boo! There's a way to fix this, but it's ugly. It's called the clear fix. The clear fix hack. Let's try adding this new CSS. Okay, so now we're going to add a class of clearfix to our div, right? and then that image should still be able to go up to the top right without, you know, overflowing out of the box or the container. This works for modern browsers. If you want to support Internet Explorer 6, you will want to add the following. Zoom 1. Oh, okay. Well, we're not using that. But this overflow to auto will be good for that container, for that div. This works for, oh, okay. There are exotic browsers that may require extra attention. The world for clear fixing is pretty scary, but this simple solution will work best for the vast majority of browsers today. Okay, and this is about float layout. It is very common to do entire layouts using float. Here's the same layout we did with position earlier, but using float instead. This example works just like the last one. Notice we put a clear fix on the container. It's not needed in this example, but it would be if the nav was longer than the non-floated. Okay. And then this is percent. Percent is a measurement unit relative to the containing block. It's great for images. Here we make an image that is always 50% the width of this container. Try shrinking down the page to see what happens. So the article image, float right with the width of 50%, and it's going to be 50% of your article. Right? Percent width layout. You can use percent for layout, but this can require more work. In this example, the nav content starts to wrap in a displeasing way when the window is too narrow. It comes down to what works for your content. But dang, that just like... Oh. There we go. Next. Oh, hello there. C. Oh, C. Yes, C, I am. C. Dang, I can't even type. Okay, sorry. Time is it? 2:13? Okay, we got a little bit more time. So responsive design, so this is media queries. Responsive design is a strategy of making the site a site that responds to the browser and device that is being shown, and the device that it is being shown on, by looking awesome no matter what. Media queries are the most powerful tool for doing this. Let's take our layout that uses percent widths and have it display in one column when the browser is too small to fit the menu in the sidebar. Excuse me. So we'll add media, min width 600 pixels, nav float left width 25%, section margin left 25%, and then at media max width 599 pixels, nav list display inline. Let's kind of do that, right? And let's see what happens. Okay, so once we reach below that 600 pixels, it displays the nav list and the inline. Now you resize your browser, it's even cooler than ever. Ta-da! Our new layout, our layout looks great even on mobile browsers. Here are some popular. Oh yeah, we can actually do that, right? Check that out. Oh my god. So, okay, we'll go back to our regular view. Okay, here's some popular sites that use media queries in this way. There's a whole lot more you can detect in min width and max width. Check out the MD and documentation to learn more. You can make your layout look even better on mobile using Meta Viewport. Okay, first of all, we gotta go and check these out, right? Okay, we're gonna have to do some reading later. Check this out. Media queries. Oh. Okay, I like the design on some of these. I will definitely have to okay. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I had to take a gander. And then you can make more make your layout look even better on mobile. Try using Meta Viewport. Let's see what that is. Intersection Meta Viewport and Viewport. So, okay, cool. So I guess just we're able to use that already. Oh my goodness. Okay, and we'll save that. Oh. Oops. All right. About this. Oh, so I keep reading that stupid thing. It's not stupid, I'm sorry. Oh, cool. I like that little menu up here. You can create a grid of boxes that fills the browser width and wraps nicely. This has been possible for a long time using Float, but now with inline block it's even easier. Inline block elements are like inline elements, but they have a width and height. Let's look at examples of both approaches. The hard way, using Float. .box. You got a float left, width 200, height of 100, and a margin of 1 em on all sides. And then after box, clear left, right? So here's all of our boxes inline as a float left. Okay. But an easy way using inline block. You can achieve the same effect using the inline block value of the display property. So instead of doing float, we do display inline block. Same properties and values as before concerning the width, height, and margin. And then I don't have to use a clear in this case because they're already displayed inline and not floating. You have to do extra work for Internet Explorer 6 and 7 of inline block. Sometimes people talk about the inline block triggering something called Css Layout, though you only need to know about that to support old browsers. Okay, well this is actually pretty cool, but I have to use the restroom, so I will see y'all in a little while. Alright, thank you for stopping by, and I'll talk to you later.